Ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, I'm Pete Moore. I'm one of PCM Guns. What I've got here is another straight pull, the Merkel Helix. This one is called the Speedster, which we'll get onto in a bit. But basically, when Blaser launched their R93 and later R8 rifles, they pretty much had the whole straight pull thing tied up. And it wasn't until later that other companies started coming in on the act and making their own. And the Helix is Merkel's version of it. I remember it being launched to IWA with a great deal of secrecy, and it is quite a different rifle in some ways. In other ways, it's what you might expect. First thing, historically, I would say that if you're going to design a straight pull, then you're going to look at what's about. And back then, apart from the Blaser itself, the only real competition was the Browning Morale, which was more of a hybrid design, had a fixed barrel, it wasn't a switch barrel or anything, but it was a straight pull action, and the action manually pulled back. It had a spring to push it forward. And I'll be very surprised if Merkel didn't take a serious look at that, because what they've done, they've made a design with an enclosed bolt like the Morale, similar type of cocking handle. The only difference is on this rifle, it's purely manual, backwards and forwards. It's got a rotary bolt, and it has quite a short action throw. It's how they've geared it inside gives you about a 2-to-1 advantage, so it's, as you can see, it's quite short, which is all to the good. It has a decocker like most straight pulls do. Barrel removal is a bit different, again, as we shall see. Magazines, that's a 5-rounder. You can get a 3 as well, but this is probably envisaged for wild boar, driven boar, that sort of thing. Though you get a lot of different calibers in a rifle. This is a fluted barrel model, you get some that aren't. So it's the usual thing, there's wooden stocks, there's different synthetic stocks. Depends how much money you've got and what you actually want to do with the rifle. But generally speaking, it feels quite handy, I must admit. The butt is quite interesting. It's almost like a thumb hole without the top strap. You have a vertical full pistol grip that offers a very nice hold, perhaps a little bit too near the trigger, but that's neither here nor there. High straight comb, and the comb has a memory function on it. What you do, basically, set the comb height, and when you put it back down again, you press it to deploy it if you want to, it comes up to that original height. Good idea. I can say a little bit gimmicky, and this is quite an old gun. You can tell it's been used by many people for shows and things, and this is a little bit stiff now, so really set it and forget it. That's my advice to it. Decent rubber butt plate, QD sling swivels, which you can probably see as well. Rubber inserts here and also here on the semi-schnabel fore end. Magazines retained by 2 latches. It's a single column box mag, easy to load, very reliable feed, just locks in. This is before you can get a 3-round if you need it. As standard, the top of the receiver has integral Picatinny bases front and rear, which is great because compared to Blasers and 404s and all the other straight pulls about, you're not having to throw 300-400 quid on a specialised scope mount. Very nice idea, really like it. On this I've got a Leopold 3-18 by 44 with their usual nice ballistic type turrets. Nice and low mounted, good little hunting scope. The action as befits any straight pull is a straight push pull. Push, fire, open up again, and it's quite easy. There's no great hesitation because it's a straight pull and not a hybrid design. You do have some better thoughts of mechanical performance on the actual operation. Trigger, nicely curved blade. To be honest, I found it a bit saggy. It breaks okay, but some triggers are nice and crisp. This one is just like, yeah, it's going to go. I would perhaps have liked something a little bit more precision. The cocker follows pretty much the normal pattern we can expect from guns like the Blaser. He was in fire position, cocking slide forward, red dot exposed, shoot, shoot like so. So to decock, simply you push up on the catch and press down on the button. I found this a very awkward job to do with one hand as the button seems quite tight. In this position the action is completely closed. So say if you just shot the rifle reloaded, you just trip it down and that's it, ready to go, but not obviously shootable. So before you push up like so and you're in full fire mode, back down. If you want to open the action up, all you need to do is just push up about 1/8 of an inch or so, and it unlocks the action. It's as simple as that. There's no magic about it, but it's a typical sliding decocking system that, like the Blaser and like most things like it, are very stiff to operate. In use, I rather like the Speedster stock. It's got quite a nice length of pull on it, which is good. I've got long arms, and it bridges between a pure sporting type stock and a much more laid back pistol grip, and more of a sort of precision type stock, and I think it does well. So when you're freehand shooting with it, you've got a lot of control, all this here, but if you want to get down to the bench with it, equally so, you've got good support and control. So it's a rather nice looking stock, and also it does the business. Okay, let's crack a few rounds off. Clear. Felt pretty good. Takedown is a little bit different but quite easy. This screw here is actually a plunger. You unscrew it, and then once it's unscrewed you press it in, and the fore-end pushes forward like so, which exposes the rest of the action to take it apart. Flip the rifle over so it's bolt side down. Stick it out of there so you can see what's happening. That lever there is the barrel locking lever, and it's very, very stiff. And essentially you need to put a lever on it to open the lever up. I can't recall this being stiffer on the last gun I tested many years ago. That comes down like so, and the barrel just lifts away. You see it there, and also underneath that little tiny slot is the locking lever itself, and that's a keyway for alignment. Slightly unusual is the fact that you can take the barrel out in two ways. It's the same process, but what comes out is different. Here I've got the action close, so the bolt head is engaged with the barrel. Levers down, pull it out, as you can see, there's the bolt head. And you can see this red dot here and that red dot there. To remove the bolt head, just rotate it to a 3 o'clock position, pull it out, put it back in, rotate it back, slide the whole lot back in as before, like so, and then bring this lever up. And as I've said, it's bloody tight. And that's it like so. Perhaps the only downside of this rifle is accessing to the mech to clean it. On most bolt action rifles, or even something like a Blaser, the bolt comes out from the back. You can access all the bolt mechanism. Here, it's all enclosed. If you want to go deeper, which I wouldn't recommend, is you can take the butt off, and there's cross pins here. You can knock those out. You can pull the whole trigger mech down. And so you could clean the gunk out of that if you need to, but it really depends on your level of expertise, because if you're not very good with anything mechanical, I'll just make sure the barrel's clean and maybe give it a blast of something like a solvent just to clear out any gunk. But just be aware, if you start taking it down inside, you might have problems getting the bolt and the carrier back in. Okay, so that was a Merkel Helix Speedster. quite a nice rifle. So I tested one when it first came out a good few years ago, and I think the stock put me off, but this time round again, having got back with the rifle, mucked about with it and everything, I actually think that stock's quite a nice design in comparison to other things around there. I mean, it's almost a thumb hole, which is great, and I like thumb holes. Okay, just a few thoughts. The action's reliable. I did find unlocking with heavier loads, I had some 180 grain S&B XRG, which is a copper bullet, and there was ever so slight hesitation operating the bolt, but it wasn't like heave, it was just like, oh. Where other rounds, slightly lighter weight, didn't have any problem at all. The cocker is stiff. That's not a particularly bad insult, because the Blaser's one is stiff. Most of the cocking sight systems are a bit funny anyway. Tried single loading the rifle, mag emptying in and another running quick. Sometimes you drop a round in, it works, sometimes it doesn't, so it's a choice you make. Mags are easy to fill. 5 shots nice, so I like a 5 shot for hunting. Trigger is mushy, as I said before, but it breaks lightly and is adjustable. So, you get used to it, but what I find, there's no real transfer point between here it is, bang, it's gone. It's a gradual pull to the break. But again, you get used to it. So, stock's nice, really like it. The integral bases are just great from a buyer's point of view. Any mount will do, not a big deal. The action stroke is surprisingly short, takes a little bit getting used to, and it's quite nice. Barrel change is a bit different, but it's easy enough to do. Though I did find that locking lever on a barrel is really, really stiff, and again, I think the first one I tested, it wasn't that stiff. I don't know, just the way it is perhaps. The barrel is threaded 15x1, and you get a choice. This was a 22.5 inch tube, and it was a fluted semi-weight at 19mm. The standard barrel, if you buy the rifle as a standard gun, is 17mm. Depends what you want. Heavy barrel helps, but again, you've got to carry it. Caliber wise, not particularly expansive, but pretty much all the useful numbers. 243, 270 and 308 win, obviously. 764, which is a sweet little European round, not popular over here, but it does the business. 30-06, the classic. 8x57 IS and 9.3x62. So you've got enough there to go and shoot moose, go and shoot African plains game, go and shoot wild boar. Not a big deal. So it's the old thing. There's more than enough there without going over the top. So you can get them in wood stock, synthetic stock, fancy woodwork, engraving, iron sights, non-iron sights. It's a typical European offering with the price commensurate with what you ask for it. This one, I had a quick look around the websites in the UK. I've seen 4K hits about an average price. I've seen some a bit cheaper, some a bit more, but again, it's what each shop will charge. But as a Blaser boy, and I like my R8, I really do, but I've got to say, that Helix, a Speedster, is actually very, very nice. And the price, I think, of an R8 professional success, which I have, which is a thumb hole stock gun, is probably not much shy of £4,000. So I think about 3,750. So perhaps the Helix is a little bit more expensive, but I think it's the old thing, in retrospect. Give me each one for a week, and I take it hunting, take it range and shoot it. I might lean towards the Helix, I don't know, but not now, obviously. One of the other things, accuracy wise, was again typical of a rifle. You feed it something it likes or it doesn't like. And the best group came from a Barnes TSX 168 grain reload I made up for another 308 I had. Now you can't complain at that. I didn't know how it was going to shoot, and it shot really, really well. I then tried the heavier 180 grain XRG, which is, say, another non-lead with an aluminium nose piece from S&B, and that shot all over the place. So you can't criticise a rifle through one brand of ammo, but it does prove that you get the recipe right or the brand of ammo right, and it's going to shoot. And if a hunting rifle can shoot just around ½ inch, 100 meters, I ain't complaining. Okay, thanks for looking in, appreciate it. If you liked it, tell your mates. If you didn't like it, tell me, or tell me if you did like it. Don't forget, like and support the channel, and if you need to speak to me, as always, it's pmoore.shootingsports@gmail.com, and I'll catch you later with more stuff. As always, be safe, shoot straight.